So for me, actually even saying yes to the business was massive. It was so big for me to like get my head around. But then I was like, no, I have to learn to do it in a way that feels good for me. It's not about doing what everyone else says. It's about doing what's right for me.
Yeah.
And so I really led with my why, so why I was doing it. And my big why about educating women on their health and their well-being was because I didn't want anyone suffering like I did, but also my mum has a terminal illness, which is preventable, and losing her has just been horrific. And so I would share my story, and I would not just like little share it. I'd like crack my heart open and say, here, I'm bleeding. And I don't want you to bleed like me. Right? Listen to me and let me show you how you don't have to do that. So signing my first person up was really hard, but I went with I didn't lead with the product. I led with me. I led with my story. I led with my mission. And then I said, after I went with that, I was like, and this is why I believe in this product. To another level.
Welcome, guys, back to the Student Spotlight. My name is Callum Holt. I work with Luke Hawkins. And today, guys, we are joined by Rosie Nerney. She's a coach that has gone from domestic violence victim and suicide survivor to now helping women to actually gain clarity and confidence and purpose to connect to who they truly are, which is amazing. She's gone through some of our programs, Neurotransformational Therapy and Seven Figure Academy. And I really want to bring her on board to share her story and also her success with everyone. Because coming out of Seven Figure Academy, she had some really outstanding results, very, very quickly. And really want to share some of the tips, hints, and tricks along the way that she's used to get there. So, Rosie, welcome to the podcast. And if you could bring everyone up to speed with your story, what you're doing before, why you got into coaching, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Callum. Thanks for the invitation. So my personal growth journey, I guess, began 9 years ago. So I was 26. I was in the middle of a breakdown of a DV marriage. I had two small little girls at the time, and what I never wanted to happen was basically my only ticket out, which was to be a broke, divorced, single mum in my 20s. It was not something that my little girl ever dreamed of saying, but there I was. So I got to a point, I had really bad postnatal depression and I was suicidal. That was my lowest point, was when I was there. And then I was like, well, I decided not to do that. And so I was like, well, there's only one way to go when you're at the bottom, and that's straight back up. So I knew to get out of the marriage, I had to build my own inner strength up. I had to, because my self-worth was like nothing. I had no personal boundaries, just no self-worth. So I had to build that up. So I started reading a lot of personal development books and just following the instructions. Like, people often say, how did you do it? I said, I read the books and I followed the instructions. Like, it's not some magic pill. It's not some rocket science. Like, these books have instructions. They say, do this exercise. So I did it, and I did it again, and I did it again. And so I got myself and my girls out. I relocated us onto the eastern coast of New South Wales in Australia. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm doing all this mindset stuff and it's really changing my life. And I haven't had to, as long as I kept my mind focused on what I wanted, I haven't had to worry about anything because it's always just worked out for me. So I was like, I wanted to teach other people to do the same. And I'm very health conscious, very, very big on healthy lifestyle. And so I did a health coaching course with Institute of Integrative Nutrition in, read my certificate, 2014.
Yeah.
I did that. And so I finished that course and I started looking for coaching clients. But I still had no idea about business. I had no confidence. Like, I look back at what I was charging then for like a 6-week thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, you thought you had self-worth, but you really didn't. It was like, I was like Anyway, so then as I was teaching people about health and wellness and food and allergies and all that kind of stuff, I had a product come across my path, and the product was really amazing, and it was a part of a direct sales company, and I hated direct sales, and I was like, I'm never going to be one of those people. But the product was really good and it really worked. So then I was like, oh gosh, okay, I'll give it a shot. But I'll do it without being one of those people. I'll just do it my way. So I did that. And so my coaching kind of got shelved a little bit, but everything that I learned played into that, like building that business. So I built that business up, and I had a lot of success with that. But then after probably about 4 years in that business, I was just like, I just need more. I just need more. Like I wasn't feeling fulfilled anymore. Yeah. So then I was like, okay, I want to get back into coaching. But I knew with the health coaching, there was just a piece that was missing. Like I had worked with so many people within this company and so many women, and I just see people getting stuck over and over and over and over again. I was like, if I could just like get into their heads and like twist this thing off, then they'd be able to go through their potential. And then Luke reached out to me. I literally had never even heard of him. And I'm so glad, like whenever I think about reaching out to people or doing, sales messages or anything like that, I'm just like, imagine if Luke never reached out to you.
There we go.
Like, just imagine, like, I'm just like, that message. And I know, when you reach out, you get so many no's, but the yeses, like, they're just so good. So he reached out to me, and I had a call with him, and he was like, well, I teach, the NTT, and it actually is like what you're looking for, like transformation. It actually does that for people. And so I was really drawn to that. I was like, so I could actually do coaching and have these tools that are going and do actual scientifically proven mindset shifts. So I was like, yes, sign me up for that. And he said, and also like the 7-figure, and then he was like, talked about the 7-figure thing. And then he told me like the package price, and I was like, well, it just made sense.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. But at the time I was traveling in a caravan. I have 4 children now. So I was traveling in a caravan with 4 kids. And I said to him, look, I can't even touch the 7-figure thing until I get back home. So he was like, that's cool. Just do the NTT. So I did the NTT while traveling, like zooming through in a caravan. Yeah. And then when I got home, a couple of weeks after we were home, we did the 7-figure academy, and the 7-figure academy, like dead set. That business training is the best business training I've ever done. And I've been to like so many conferences and that over the past like 5 years. And I have never, and I said this to Luke, I have never, ever got a return on my investment. Not only the return, but have it doubled in that short period of time. And he promised me that. He said to me, if you follow everything that I do, you will have a return on your investment within the first month of completing it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And it was amazing. So that's kind of got me back. So I've been working with one-on-one clients now, and the results with them is just mind-blowing. Like learning using all the techniques that Luke's taught in his program. And I'm just like, when I see the changes with them, when I go, like if we're talking through, limiting beliefs and stuff like that, and I'll get them to rate it at the beginning. So I'm like, okay, what is this between a 1 and a 10? And they'll go, oh, it's like an 8. And at the end of the session, I'll read it and they're like, what? Like, it's just not even there. Like watching that transformation, it's just like, so many wins. I love knowing that I'm part of a transformation story for someone. And just helping them to like, pull, like just it's like a fast track, like like reading the books and doing the exercises is great, but those techniques are like 20 books in one type thing. And it just I just love that I can offer that to people. So that's basically up to speed where I am now.
Wow, what a journey. I love it. So tell us more, like the work that you do with women and everything. What's tell us about your programs and what you do.
So my one-on-one program it's called Release and Rise. So it's all about releasing the baggage that holds you back. So as I was putting it together, I was like just imagining like shackles around your wrists and stuff like that, and by the end of it, like letting go of them and just like hands up. So it's again going through the techniques that Luke put in his program. So releasing the emotions of anger and sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt, then the limiting beliefs. Then I'm really big on forgiveness, and I love doing perceptual positions. I think that's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah. And so, the forgiveness techniques are just phenomenal. So then we do like forgiveness parts of the personality where I'll like anchor them to that part of them, and then like putting their goals in. So that's like my one-on-one program, and the results from that have been amazing. And my group program that I'm just building at the moment, which I am going to be launching in October, is called the Q Club. So the Q Club is the Queen's Club, and it is for women who want to do the transformation, but we're going to do it in a group setting. That was one of my really big strengths when I was in my prime with my direct sales business, was community. The community that I built was phenomenal. I know I'm really good at it. And so bringing women together to do the work, to heal, to support each other. So that's what I'm creating. But I'm also like, I love spiritual stuff too. So there's like guided meditations, and then there'll be like closing ceremony where we do like writing stuff down, burning it, like all that kind of stuff. So, really feminine kind of stuff.
I love it. That's amazing. So I'd love to hear, like, you told me before we started, and we'll get into that as well, how you had very rapid, quick success. But I imagine, I could be totally wrong here, but I imagine that you haven't gone from like domestic violence and suicidal to, suddenly going into direct sales and success.
In one
step.
Like a huge process. It's a massive process.
Yeah. So like, even like when I used to do isogenics, and I speak very, very fondly of MLM as an industry. I just think it's a phenomenal business training ground.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. But I'd love to hear, like, for you, about, some of your journey in terms of in that space. How did you get through times that, like your first time you signed someone up, in direct sales, how you got started, why not just get a job?
So why didn't I just get a job? Because I wanted to be available for my children. And so being around them was really, really important to me. And so before I got into coaching, I'm a beauty therapist. So I was trained beauty therapy. So beauty therapy hours are long, and they are weekends, and you get paid shit. So I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be if I'm going to be away from my kids, you better make it worth my while. And so it just wasn't. So I was like, okay, I just need to find another way. So I just kind of kept searching. So getting into direct sales, well, I had actually had a bad experience with direct sales before I came. So the company I'm with is doTERRA. So I'd had a really bad experience with someone trying to sign me up, and they just harassed the shit out of me.
Probably signing up on isogenics.
No, it wasn't isogenics. It was another company. I'm not going to mention the name, but it was just like, there was just like messages and phone calls, and I was just like, oh my God. So then when the oils came across my path, I was like, oh God, I just can't be one of those people. I can't do that to people. I don't want to do that. So for me, actually even saying yes to the business was massive. It was so big for me to like get my head around. But then I was like, no, I have to learn to do it in a way that feels good for me. It's not about doing what everyone else says. It's about doing what's right for me.
Yeah.
And so I really led with my why, so why I was doing it. And my big why about educating women on their health and their well-being was because I didn't want anyone suffering like I did, but also my mum has a terminal illness, which is preventable, and losing her has just been horrific. And so I would share my story. And I would not just like little share it. I'd like crack my heart open and say, here, I'm bleeding. And I don't want you to bleed like me, right? Listen to me and let me show you how you don't have to do that. So signing my first person up was really hard, but I went with I didn't lead with the product. I led with me. I led with my story. I led with my mission. And then I said, after I went with that, I was like, and this is why I believe in this product, right? So I led with me first. So then I just had to make sure everything I was doing, I was just checking back in with me. Are you just trying to sell them to make money, or are you trying to genuinely help them? So I was always checking back in with myself. And as long as I was connected to that, I was fine. But yeah, super uncomfortable, hated it. Like even now, like if people like say, oh, you can spend all this time with them and they don't want it, I'm like, oh, like it's so annoying. But once you start getting some wins and some results, they give you like rocket fuel to keep going. But in that industry, I 100% agree with what you said. The business training and the business experience, absolutely phenomenal. Like, I don't think you can find any other business training, beginner kind of stuff that is, it's so good.
Oh,
it's so good. And the skills it gets you in relation to getting out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself and like doing it, like it really, really does. So I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't have that experience with that industry at all. And I'm so grateful for it. So grateful, not just for the experience, but for the friendships that I've made, for the people that I've met.
Yeah.
Hold on, you're just going to have to pause this bit. Yes.
Yeah, keep going where we're at, or talking about your sales experience in multi-level marketing or indirect sales.
Yeah.
The training there.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for that. I'm super grateful for all of it. And, it'll always be part of my life, but I can just feel myself being like pulled in a different direction. And as long as you get your system set up properly, you're able to do that. You're able to have like multiple income streams and multiple businesses and stuff like that. So I still show up for it. But I'm putting more of my time and energy now into building my personal brand in relation to coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. So why that's a good question in terms of why the transition for you from, what do you feel didn't connect as much to working hard in I always said I would come back to coaching. I always said, like, when I started, I was like, I'm going to do this for a period of time and then I will go back to coaching. It was always going to happen. So I just felt that it was the time. I guess I just felt it was time. I felt like there was something more waiting for me, something more calling me. And it wasn't like I said, I still love it. I still have like a team that I love and support and show up for. But I just, like Luke teaches this as well, like, check your energy, right? Where's your energy at? Because your energy, if you want to be successful and if you really want to help people, your energy has to be in it. Yeah. You have to be all in. And it just wasn't for me anymore. And not as much as it was. So it still is to a certain degree. Like, I was just watching some stuff this morning actually, and I was like, oh God, I miss them. And but in relation to growing myself and where I want to go, it was just an intuitive thing. Like, honestly, it was just intuitively, this is where I want to go. And stuff started kind of like happening with my team as well. So like, people just started to, I don't know, just evolve and wanted to go and do different things. And I felt myself trying to like grasp and like pull things together. And I was like, no, we've got to hold on. We've got to hold on. We've got to hold on. And that energy is like really repelling, right? Like, it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. And when you're existing in that energy, it's like, it's not good for business. It's not good for yourself. And so I just got to the point where I was just like, I just got to let go. Like, I'm like, who am I to tell other people what they should do and not do with their life? And like, if this isn't serving them anymore, then that's fine. And just finding gratitude. Like, I'm so grateful that I could be part of their journey for the period of time that I could be, but it is what it is. And just moving forward. It was just more of an intuitive thing, but I'm still, I'll never take all my feet out of it because like, I love it too much.
Yeah, no, I get that. Sometimes, especially with how much I've grown since like doing ISA. It's funny. I was just looking here now because I'm drinking out of an ISA during exchange.
Yeah.
Still got the bits and bobs hanging around. And then sometimes I'm like, I could go back into ISA and totally slay even now with the skills that I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I miss the events.
Yeah, and I think like I just like something that has been really evident to me like starting coaching as well. When people don't make a financial exchange and they don't they haven't exchanged a form of value to receive something, they don't fully show up, right? They go half-assed in, and then you get half-assed results. And I was just like, you can only motivate someone to a certain point before they have to like actually get in, right? And so I'd worked with people for a while, and I'd done retreats and done trainings and put all this stuff on. And then I was like, okay, but you have to get in. Like you have to get in now. And what I was doing wasn't working. And so I was like, I just want to work with people that want to. Totally. I want to work with people because when you're actually in and you want something, you get results. Totally. People that like just paddle in the shallow area, they just do nothing. Totally. Right?
Yeah, you see that something atrocious in MLM.
Yeah, and it is totally. And that was like draining my energy as well, because I was putting so much energy in, and initially I was getting it back, but then I was like the energy creator and I just wasn't getting anything back. And so I was like, I just want to work with people that actually want to do the work and want to get results. And like working with these women that I've been working with since I've been coaching, like they show up for the calls, they're on time, they do the homework, like, and they've paid the money. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is what happens when people actually pay for stuff. They do the work. Because like, I mean, I know myself, I'm exactly the same.
I am too, yeah.
Right? But we all are. It's part of being human, because that value exchange is so important.
It is.
So that was probably something now like I've got really good boundaries around myself and that business. I'm like, unless you're showing up by doing A, B, C, and D, we don't jump on calls.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm just not going to be this machine where you jump on a call, take my energy, and then I'm like,
totally.
So there's got to be that equal exchange. And if that's not happening, then you need to reassess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, that's it's incredible. Why do you think that is in MLM? That's something I've pondered about. Like, why do you think there's so many people in there that just like flop around?
I think they want it. I think they do. I think they're so scared. I think they're probably more scared of what will happen if they do achieve than if they don't. So if they're in, they can say they're in. And if they're not achieving, they can say it's a really good playground for bullshit excuses. Like it really is, because you can show up to all the trainings, you can show up to all the calls, you can do all of that and not actually do anything and still be part of it. Right? Because, you don't turn anyone away, because if you do, then you're like the bad guy. Yeah. So I just think it's an area where people like, I want to make this change. I want to do this stuff. But instead of it just being a pool where you just like jump in, there's just this big shallow area, and so many people just stand there and wade.
Totally.
They just wade because they're not sure what could be out there. Like it could be a shark or it could be $1 million.
Yeah.
But either way, they're not willing to take the risk to get out there. And they're just like, they just sit in there. Like, I think the people that I've found that sit the most are people that are in safe jobs. Right. So and I actually think now it's funny, like growing up, especially in high school, you like drilled, get a university degree, all that kind of stuff. But now, I mean, I'm 35 now. So I'm looking at people around me and I'm like, people that have university degrees and they have their careers, the chances of them like pushing those boundaries is like so minimal, because it's so safe, it's secure, and they just settle for content. Yeah, I'm content. Like, this is good. Like, I'm good. Like, I can, but really it's just like, I love, I can't remember. No, it's a book called The Big Leap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about the analogy of the like flea in the jar with the lid on top.
Yeah.
And that's what like I see the system is set up for. So you're at school and you're in this jar and this lid is on top. And then they just train you and condition you and train you and condition you. And then when you're about 25 or whatever, the lid comes off and you're like, I'm not going to move. I'm just going to stay right here. And it's not until someone says, there's no ceiling, like you can keep going.
Yeah.
But then majority of them still don't do it either. They just stay with the cap on.
Yeah. I love that. And I've pondered it myself a bit, and I think it's really interesting part of it. The other thing I've pondered about, if it's a component of it, is I feel like in like, MLM often depends on the MLM, but the entry price is so low.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what it is in doTERRA, but in ISA, like you could join a team for like, if you wanted to, you could join a team for probably $100.
Yeah. Well, in doTERRA, you could join without any product. You could join for $35.
Without any, I didn't even know you could join without buying.
Yeah, you can join. You can just buy an account with no product, and it's $35 plus shipping because you get like a brochure. But yeah, so basically your entry price is like $50. But if you buy in with product, your entry price is like, I think you could just buy one oil. So really you could be like $100 or like $80. But like most people buy in, it's like around the $300 mark. But yeah, it's just not like, even I know myself with like online programs that I've built, like, talk about learning lessons, like the programs that I built that are like, I'm like, come in for like $99, and then everyone shows up to the first call and then you don't see them again. I'm like, you just like, if you want people to show up and get the results, there has to be a decent value exchange. That's it. That's what it comes down to. And like changing your mindset around money as well. Like I just see money now as how much do you value something?
Absolutely. And
that's it.
It's one of the things I like sometimes when I do like coaching calls or talk to clients and that, if anything, I'm like, charge more.
Yeah.
Like, and normally people are like, charge more than 5,000. What?
Yeah.
But I'm like, charge more and deliver more value, right? And by doing that, like personally, I prefer to work with less people and
absolutely
and serve them to a much higher level. And
absolutely.
then they're probably going to be happier and you get a better testimonial.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Rather than like piss fighting around with like, especially after tax and all the other stuff, like a couple thousand, you get like not that much out the other end.
Absolutely. Quality over quantity every day of the week.
Yeah. It's not like,
and you get quality by putting a price down. It's as simple as that. Like, because people who only buy cheap seats are not going to invest.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. And you know what though, in 10 years time, you'll be able to call them and they'll be exactly in the same spot.
Absolutely. Because it's a mindset, right?
100%. 100%.
It's a particular way of seeing things. And it's really interesting that, and it's definitely something for myself. Like even recently, a lot of mindset around that of just like crank your prices and really crank them up.
Yeah,
and
like you know what though, at the moment, like especially when people are talking about money, like we're recording this is 2021. I'm like, there has never been more printed money circulating in the world than there is right now. Like totally. Never. Yeah. Right? And I'm just like, why isn't everyone charging like more? Because there's more money out there. Like the bottle shops are pretty happily collecting it and all of that. Like
and then not just that, but it's also like, it's pretty damn easy to get access to money. Like I know we use a service called MoneyMe. And they're not even the only service. There's like MoneyMe, there's like Hum, there's like all these like kind of less than $30,000 loans that you can get, and it's like takes like 10 minutes to get approval.
Yeah. If you want something bad enough, you make it happen. It's simple as that. And like the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? By Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Poor dad says, I can't afford that. Rich dad says, how can I afford that?
Yeah.
Right. It's mindset. It's all mindset. And it's just like, if you want something bad enough, if you want the change bad enough, whatever it is that you want, you find a way to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and even if they don't offer a payment plan, then you ask if they can. And if they can't, then you go away and like 12 months later, you come back with like the cash or whatever you've got to do. If you want it bad enough, you figure out a way.
Yeah. I always used to say to clients, I'm like, you know, say if they're like, oh, I can't afford, 5,000. It's like, okay, do you know five people that have $1,000? Simple, right? Yeah. They're like, oh no, I don't. Okay, no problem. Do you know X number with 500?
Yeah.
Right. Like not that many people. Like most people have $500 in their savings that they're saving for a rainy day.
Most people have a credit card, they put $500 on it.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's one of those things that blows my mind. It's more about a way of thinking and getting creative about, and especially like if you want to like get ahead, there's a lot to be said for using other people's money.
It makes you accountable too.
Yeah.
Like when you borrow someone else's money, you're on a boiler, right? It's like, oh, I need to pay that back, so I better do something.
Yeah.
Right. I can't just sit around and complain and go, oh, maybe when the stars align, something will happen for me. You have to actually go and do something to get it back for them.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's kind of like the, something for some people that, kind of gets in their way in terms of fear of having that like pressure on them.
Yeah, I think so. Well, then it's the fear of like, it's not believing in themselves that they can do it. Right. Yeah. So they're like, if I borrow that money, but I probably won't be able to pay it back because deep down I know, or I not even know, I believe that I can't do it.
Yeah. That's right. I just looked at the time and I was like, holy heck, I didn't realize that went so quick. Before we finish up, so to speak, I'd love to hear, relatively quickly, like the results you've got since you've been coaching.
Yep.
And just a couple like, those kind of tips, hints and suggestions around for other coaches and really specific things that work incredibly well for you.
Yep. So I said this at the beginning though, like in relation to how I changed my mindset and everything.
Yeah.
My tips would be find someone that is doing what you want and follow their instructions.
Yeah.
So like I did the 7-Figure Academy with Luke and he said, do this. And I did it. Like I didn't question it. I just did it. And so with the 7-Figure Academy, I'd done the training for the neurotransformation training. So I did the 7-Figure Academy. I followed his instructions. I put my first call out, which was, I think he said offer a free coaching session for people. So I booked 8 or 9 calls. I think it was 9. No, it was 8. Anyway, it was around that number. And so then once I got them on the call, I talked to them and I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm offering the 6-week program. I ran through it with them and they all said, 5 of them said yes. 2 of them said later. 1 of them ghosted me, which is totally fine. And then on my email list, because I had a spot for 6 to work with, like just with my schedule, because I've got 4 kids and lockdowns and all that stuff. So I was like, I actually when everyone started saying yes initially, I was like, oh God, how many people can I fit? Like, I better get my calendar sorted, because I wasn't expecting so many people to say yes. So I was like, okay, I've got a spot for 6. So I filled 5. And then my next week, I do like a weekly email to my email list. And I said, I've got 1 spot left. And then I jumped on a call. One lady replied, jumped on a call, signed her. So that was it. So then I was booked. So I charged my opening price, which seriously, like, I'm glad that I did it. So my opening price was $2,500. But looking at what I've done and the results that I get, the time and everything that I put in, I'm like, I'm never, ever offering it that cheap ever again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was 6 people, 2.5 grand, $15,000 within 10 days of finishing Seven Figure Academy. And so then I decided after that, like, because the return on investment was just so, it was like more than double in such a short period of time. Like, I just have faith and trust in Luke. So that's when I joined the Lions Circle. And so I've built my group program now. And my goal is to have the return on investment on that, because I went on a payment plan for some of that. And so my goal is to have the return investment on that by February next year, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to do.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. I can hear in your voice, right? And it's something that, oh God, I wish I could just like copy and paste into other people. There's like this like hunger / certainty / I don't know. It's like a tone of your voice or something that I've heard in other people, particularly in Lines in a Circle. But it's like, yeah, like what's your mindset around your results? How do you have such incredible certainty?
Because I know, like, I'm so committed to getting the results. Like, when I show up for people, like, you know, it's the same thing as investing in something, right? When you invest a large amount of money, you're going to show up to get the results. When you charge a large amount of money, you're going to show up and you're going to like deliver results. The worst, like, one of, I guess, my fears would be if someone turned around and said that was the biggest waste of money I ever spent. Like, that would crush me, because I put my heart and soul into my work. I take it very personally. And I know, like, I've seen myself change. I've seen how, like, my mindset has changed and what it's done to my life. Like, my life, I'm like a completely different person to I was 10 years ago. Yeah. My whole circumstances are completely different. And it feels so freaking good. It feels so good. And I genuinely want that for people. Like, I want it so bad. Like, I think too, being a mum, like, and I've got 4 daughters, I want them to grow up in a world where women are not like playing small. I want them to grow up and like know who they are, stand in who they are, and not be like so influenced by, you know, society and what's going on around that. And if I don't go and create that change, then who will? Right? Well, I can't just sit back and wait and expect someone else to go and do that to create the kind of world that I want for my girls to live in. So I have to be the example. And I'm also very aware that if I'm not that kind of example, my girls are very close. Like, my eldest is 12. So we're very close to getting to like online and phones and all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
And if I'm not a shining light, an example for her, she's going to go look at someone like, and no offense if anyone watches this, but like Kim Kardashian, right? Or Khloe Kardashian. And like, that would just break my heart.
Yeah.
If my girls were looking at that and going, that's a woman, you know, and kudos to them. They've done exceptionally well with business. But I think if they put more clothes on, I don't know that they would have had the same success as what they have. And I just don't want my girls, I just don't want them thinking that that's how you be a strong, independent, worthy woman. So being the example for them, like, I'm so connected to why I'm doing this. And that comes, I transfer that in every single call I make. And if that person isn't ready, I don't care, because I will find someone else that is. Because it's like, I mean, yes, you know, it's great to get paid and to do something you love, but it's not even about me. It's just about the bigger picture. It's about the bigger mission, and it's about leaving an impact. Because, like, so my mum was 48 when she got sick. She's got dementia and she's still alive now. She's 67. I use the term alive very loosely. And you just never know when life's going to go like that. Like, I get what that is. I get how precious life is. I get what it's like to not have any time left with someone. And so I don't waste my time. Well, I lie. I do waste some time. I'm human. But I don't want to waste my time sitting around going, oh gosh, I might do this or I might do that. I'm just like, just get in and get it done. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess life experience has kind of given me that certainty and conviction. But I really genuinely want to be part of creating a better world. I really, really do. And I'm not going to do that by sitting and bitching and moaning on Facebook or anything like that. I'm going to get out there and be the light and show people how to stay in the light, be positive, and change their lives. Because slowly but surely, if we could do that for everybody, then, we'd have heaven on earth. Right. So, yeah. I guess that's what it is. And I know I can do it. I really believe in myself, and I believe in my ability to help other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I was just like, just keep speaking.
Well, I'm a bit of a talker, if you can't tell, so I could keep speaking a lot, but no, I won't. I'll just zip it.
No, that was gold. I could hear that when you were saying your results and stuff, and I was like, oh, there's a mindset there that I want to like dig into.
I work on it too. I work on it very intentionally and regularly every day. So, sorry. Yeah. So like, I meditate every day. I make sure I eat good food. I take good supplements. I've got like I don't know how many books, like 100 personal development books there, and I read them. Like, I've always got a good podcast that I'm like listening to. I make sure that I surround myself and my environment with stuff that's actually where I want to go, not shit that drags me down.
Totally.
Because you have a choice.
Yeah.
Right? You always have a choice.
100%.
And so I'm very conscious of that, and I'm very conscious of the choices that I make, and I want them to be choices that actually take my life where I want to go, not run the default system, because it's rubbish.
That's right. Very good, very good. Well, thank you so much, Rosie, for showing up and taking some time out of your busy schedule to jump on here and share.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. I was excited to be asked, so thank you.
Yeah, no, it's always fantastic. Where can people find you?
My favorite, socials, my favorite place to hang out is Instagram, and it's just, the handle is my name, so at Rosie Nerney, Nerney, and then my website is just www.rosienerney.com, which I need to update, and I know I will do it. So if you get on there and you're like, there's a little bit of mixed messaging on this website, I know. I'm going to get onto it.
Just because you said that, now I'm going to go check it out.
No, don't go and do that, because I need to. Well, hopefully by the time someone listens to this, I will have actually, you know what, now I'm like, crap, I've said it out loud. I better go and do something about that.
That's right. It's going out to everyone now. So you're like, better really do it.
Better go and do something.
Very good. Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone for tuning in to another Student Spotlight. And we'll see you on the next one.